everybody, and welcome. Today I'm afraid there's no time for moaning and personal updates because my royal talk would be enough of a rant to last us the rest of the day. Plus, I really also want to get to the other topics I wrote down yesterday and which I would like to get to because I think it may be as important, if not more important, than Harry and Meghan and their rubbish. And while I'm on the subject of rubbish, let me say this. The mainstream media can say what they want. The supposed elite can say what they want. Their narratives are mostly based on self-preservation. The fact is that if you, like me, have your ear on the ground among the common people, who are the majority, wink wink, hint hint, and you can get as mad at me as you wish and unsubscribe as many times as you wish, but I'm telling you that the current monarch is not as popular as mainstream media and the Royal Rota journalists want you to believe. I regret that I did not save the link to a video by a French journalist in Ottawa interviewing Canadians while Charles was visiting and opening Parliament. And let me tell you, not everyone waving a Canadian flag was actually there to support the King. On the contrary, the commentary from people who think a British King no longer has a place in Canada by far outweighed the ones in support of maintaining the monarch as head of state. Even the First Nation people who attended the gathering and who were actually there to perform, when interviewed, were adamant that King Charles cannot understand their traditions, community, etc. Their spokesperson was adamant that it is time for the British to step away from Canada. Yes, there were supporters and fans of the monarchy and Charles, even on this program, but in all honesty, they were mostly older or elderly and maybe one man to about 3, if not more, women. Also, I would guess the ratio for the monarch to those against, at least in Ottawa, is likely 1:4 to 5-7 against. Now, that is just a guess on my side, okay? But like a man in his mid-30s to early 40s said on the program, you cannot judge by what you see because non-supporters of Charles mostly stayed home and did not bother to come out. But my friends, that is just background and has little to do with what I want to talk about today, because the real topic of today's video is actually Meghan Markle's last few posts on Instagram yesterday. But be patient, please, I am getting there. I had a back and forth with someone who is indeed a supporter of the monarchy and who was also a supporter of King Charles until very recently. She's also very knowledgeable about the royals' history and current affairs. And she said almost word for word what I said in a previous video. Harry and Meghan's shenanigans are indeed trashing the monarchy. And the longer it goes on and the longer they are refusing to cut themselves off from Harry and Meghan, the worse the institution, the King, the Privy Council, the House of Lords and Parliament look. We can argue, we can get angry, and we can stand on our heads and whistle Dixie through our bottoms. It is true, even in the subconscious of pro-monarchist. Take it like this. Let's say an employee at a company of which you are a client or you have business with steals from the company and you find out about it. Then you find out that the owner, the CEO or manager also knows about it but does nothing about it. What are you going to think? Would you trust to buy from or do business with that owner, manager, CEO? No, likely not, because you would think there is a shady reason why he's not getting rid of the thief. Now, the exact same thing applies to the King and Harry and Meghan. The King cannot be so stupid as to not know that almost everything Harry and Meghan do is trashy and is now reflecting hugely on him and the institution. He knows it, and he's still doing nothing. But listen carefully before someone again runs to Lady C and asks her about my info and opinion. I am saying the King, but the monarchy, is not just the King. He is, to an extent, only the figurehead. So yes, it reflects on him, his council and Parliament almost equally, except that Parliament is basically waiting for him to set the ball rolling. Okay, so background mostly covered, okay? We need to talk about Meghan's Instagram page and her last few posts. I have a feeling Meghan was either drunk or mightily desperate on Lily's birthday to have posted what she did. Something is indeed coming. I can really feel it. Hopefully the King is now drawing the line by removing titles and their position in the line of succession. Or then the King and Parliament, to be technically correct. Or maybe an expose of some kind. But for whatever reason, Meghan is losing her shit. In a matter of one day, she posted something like 3 videos trying to prove that Lily came from her body. And like with everything else, she failed. In my opinion, the video in which she twerks like she grew up in a Zulu village in the north of KwaZulu-Natal or Tanzania, and 100% for sure has a pillow or jacket or towels or something under her clothing, is indeed the last straw, the nail in the coffin. In KwaZulu-Natal, the maidens dance like that, bare-breasted and with short skirts to attract male attention. They call it the reed dance, and similar occasions are indeed traditional or a tourist attraction, and sometimes even a spiritual occasion when it's done in Ulundi in front of the Zulu king and so on. And sorry, darling Meghan, they do not put their hands up to their crotches under their skirts while squatting wide-legged in front of a camera. What Meghan was doing was confusing dancing and a little shaking of the ass with pole dancing and pornography. I mean, utterly, utterly disgusting. Maybe acceptable in front of your husband in the privacy of your bedroom, but in a posh hospital, supposedly, and in front of a camera as a British duchess, no way. Posting it made it even worse, typical of a porn actress. And talking about that, I wonder whether the last person who had the porn video of Meghan and a certain photographer would now give me permission to say that she indeed had that video. There's nothing left to fear for her to actually now come out with the truth, to tell the world that it was handed to her for safekeeping when the photographer was desperate to get rid of it. He discussed it with this now divorced lady, and she convinced him not to destroy it as it could come in handy, and she offered to keep it for him. Then she ran into her own trouble in her own marriage and wanted to get rid of it and offered it for sale to a movie maker. And I think let's leave it at that. I already said way too much. Some of you may have guessed who the people are, but if you did, please keep it to yourselves for now. It is not the right time to openly speak about it, okay? I do not want to be sued yet. It is not the right time yet. I don't have enough money to fight a lawsuit of that magnitude yet. You see, the power of yet is a little shite, don't you agree? Anyway, back to this video. Firstly, if that is a 9-month pregnant belly, a real one, then there's something very wrong with my eyes. I tried to figure it out. Some people in and around my household said it looks like she grabbed a pillow and stuffed it under a dress. Others said it looked like a blue jacket of some sort stuffed under her clothes. I'll try and show you why they said that in a minute or two. I just need to think about how to open this darn video and maybe do something to it so I don't get a copyright strike, put words over it or whatever. So before I go on, let me just get into some comments on Instagram, okay? No, I can't possibly take photos on the steps. It's too personal. But it's okay to show me bouncing around in a hospital. All this has done is make the pregnancy look even more unlikely. My pregnant belly did not do whatever it is that hers is doing. If she is in the throes of labor, her breasts would be like 2 air zeppelins. They would be under her chin. Her chest is as flat as a pancake. Another comment, vulgar. The belly is more lumpy than her jam or spread or Halloween goop. Weak king if he does not do something about them after this absolutely offensive behavior. A comment. Next stop, OnlyFans. She's dancing while the surrogate is giving birth in the next room, and so on and so on. These are only comments, and about half of them from one single post. So you can imagine how many there are. There are comments from doctors, nurses, people who recently had babies, and so on and so on. And then, allegedly, because I did not see it, at 3 a.m., I guess American time, there was this. F you all. Obviously, as a result of the comments on this particular video. You see, Meghan can turn off her Instagram comments, but it does not help. And she cannot help herself. She has to go look on other pages to see what people are saying, and then she gets mad if things do not work out the way she expected it to. Now, dear King Charles, this particular gutter is a deep one. And that twerking bitch, okay, is dragging you and your reign deeper into it. And old Keir, yeah, well, no, fine. Where's your wife? Are you really snorting baby powder? And why did those 3 young bodies for hire target your property? Your silence on this bullshittery. Thank you, Trevor. It's now my favourite word, is indeed dragging you deeper into the shithole you are already in. And you know what? I'm just saying, just my opinion. You don't need to pay attention to it. Just wait and watch. Okay, guys and girls, ladies and gents, for now, this is enough on this subject for now. We'll call Lily Blue Towel Jacket Pillow Mountbatten Windsor from now on, and Meghan we'll call Doria number 2, because from time to time in this video, Meghan looks just like her mother. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves until we meet again on the next one. Bye.